My father gave me a choice: inherit the family's 30 billion fortune or receive a monthly allowance of 1,500 yuan. I didn't hesitate for a second before choosing the monthly allowance. I stayed calm, but my trust fund baby roommate completely lost his mind. In my past life, after I chose to inherit the 30 billion, my roommate embezzled from my family trust and took the entire class to the casinos in Macau. Overnight, the 30 billion was squandered, the family business went bankrupt, and my father, in a fit of rage, suffered a fatal heart attack. I confronted my roommate about the money he owed me, but he just hid behind my girlfriend with a pitiful look on his face. Bro, Ethan, you can't just pin the blame on me because your family went bankrupt. My girlfriend then kicked me so hard she broke my ribs, and scolded me. Ethan, it was your own reckless spending and gambling addiction that caused this. And now you're trying to frame Jason. Have you no shame? Just as I was about to go find a private investigator, the class monitor ran me over with his car. My girlfriend and the entire class testified for him, insisting I had intentionally thrown myself in front of the car. When I opened my eyes again, I had gone back to the day I was to choose whether to inherit the family fortune. On the eve of graduation, I suggested to the class that we go to Macau to celebrate. Guys, let's take a trip to Macau before we graduate, my treat for everything. Jason's words sent a jolt through my entire body, as if the pain of shattered bones hadn't fully subsided. It suddenly hit me. I had been reborn. The moment Jason said that, the whole class erupted in cheers. Jason's awesome, a true rich kid. We're already in Macau. How can we not check out the Macau casino? I see it in ads all the time, but I've never been. Jason beamed. Great, let's go to the Macau casino then. He then turned his gaze toward me and walked over to my side. Ethan, I heard your family has VIP status at the casino. Lend me the membership card, would you? Let the whole class experience some top-tier service. My face went completely cold. The tragedy of my previous life, my family ruined and myself left with nothing, all started when Jason asked to borrow that card. Back then, under the pretense of borrowing the card, he secretly made off with the Zurich Bank Trust Fund card my father left me, worth 30 billion. It wasn't until the court called my phone to notify me of my company's bankruptcy that I realized the money Jason had been splurging on the entire class was from my family's trust fund. When I went to Jason's place to demand my money back, he hid behind my girlfriend with a pitiful look on his face. Brother Ethan, you can't just pin the blame on me because your family went bankrupt. My girlfriend, Mia, then kicked me so hard she broke my ribs, and accused me. Ethan, it was your own reckless spending and gambling addiction that caused this, and now you're trying to frame Jason. Have you no shame? Just as I was about to go find a private investigator, Jason drove straight into me, running me over again and again until I stopped breathing. Afterwards, Mia and the entire class testified for Jason, claiming that my family had gone bankrupt and I had deliberately thrown myself in front of his car in a desperate act. My father, overwhelmed with grief, suffered a fatal heart attack. Mechanically, I reached into my bag, my fingertips brushed against a cold metal card, and I clutched it tightly. When I didn't respond, Jason grinned and slung an arm around my neck. Come on, Ethan, just let us borrow it. It's not like it'll cost you an arm and a leg. Sorry, that card belongs to my father. I can't just lend it out, I said, tucking the VIP card back into the deepest part of my bag. Hearing my words, Jason's expression turned sour. You're going to take over your father's company eventually anyway. Why be so particular about what's yours and what's ours? We're family. Mia snatched my backpack and dumped everything out. My phone, game console, and tablet scattered across the floor. Mia spotted the gold card immediately, picked it up, and handed it to Jason. See, here it is. Just take it and use it. As Jason took it, he gave Mia's hand a meaningful, lingering touch. Mia's the sensible one, Ethan. You really should learn a thing or two from your wife. Suddenly, his eyes lit up, fixed on the game console on the floor. Whoa, isn't this the new Switch 2? I heard it's sold out everywhere. I've been trying to snag one with no luck. Sensing Jason's longing gaze, Mia bent down, picked up the game console, and shoved it into his arms. You can have it to play with too. Ethan got bored of it ages ago anyway. Thanks, Mia. A bright smile spread across Jason's face. I frowned deeply, snatching back my game console and VIP card. Sorry, I'm not lending anything. Mia's face instantly flushed with anger. She grabbed me and snapped, Ethan, when did you become so stingy? Me, stingy. Enraged, I slapped her across the face. Two, smack. A sharp slap cracked through the classroom. Mia stumbled back 2 steps, her hand pressed to her cheek, her carefully styled wispy bangs now in disarray. Her wide eyes were filled with disbelief. The tiny diamonds on her manicured nails glittering with a harsh, blinding light in the sun. Ethan, how dare you hit me? She shrieked, her voice like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. I shook my stinging hand and sneered, that slap was to teach you some boundaries. Who gave you the right to give away my things to someone else? The classroom instantly erupted into chaos. Ethan, have you lost your mind? It's just a game console. Is it really that big of a deal? He'd even hit his own girlfriend. What, you think money makes you special? Jason hurriedly helped Mia up, then turned and glared at me. Ethan, Mia's just trying to help everyone. What's with the attitude? I bent down to pick up the items scattered on the floor, and slowly tucked the VIP card into my pocket. My position is clear. I'm not lending it. Mia suddenly wrenched her hand free from Jason's and charged over. Ethan, you give that card back to Jason right now and apologize to us. Or we're through. I don't want a boyfriend who's so petty and vindictive. Give it back. It was mine to begin with. Who am I supposed to give it back to? I dodged her grasping hands, a faint smile curling at the corner of my mouth. If you want to break up, fine. Saves me the hassle of a settlement. That comment was like poking a hornet's nest. Mia trembled with rage. You think I care about your money? Not good enough for you. I raised an eyebrow, glancing pointedly at the Cartier watch on her wrist. Then why don't you start by giving back the birthday present I gave you last week? Her face instantly went pale, and she instinctively covered the watch with her hand. The expressions of the classmates around us immediately turned knowing and subtle. Monitor Leo suddenly slammed the table and stood up, his face flushed with anger. Ethan, you're so selfish. Jason was kind enough to invite everyone to Macau. Can't you think about the group for once? Exactly, chimed in the study committee member. You always act so easygoing, but when it really counts, your true colors show. I scanned the room, looking at these faces that were both familiar and strange. In my past life, it was these very people who stood in court and unanimously claimed I was attempting suicide fraud. If Jason invited you to Macau, go talk to him. Why are you coming to me? Jason stepped up again. If we use your VIP card, all our spending at the casino will boost your membership tier, won't it? It's a win-win. Mia nestled close to Jason, the look of pain on her face seeming to have vanished. You're so considerate. Even though Ethan has been so unreasonable, you're still thinking of him, since you're all so keen on going to Macau. I said slowly, pulling a card from my wallet. I suppose I could lend it to you. Jason's eyes lit up, and he reached out to grab it. With a flick of my wrist, I revealed the card in its entirety. It was the school meal card. Are you messing with me? Jason's face turned ashen. Takes one to know one. I spun the meal card around my fingertip. Weren't you all trying to guilt-trip me? Mia suddenly grabbed the chalk box from the lectern and hurled it at me. Ethan, I must have been blind to ever be with you. I sidestepped, and chalk scattered across the floor. 3. Jason's face darkened instantly when he saw I refused to hand over the VIP card. He shot a look at the guys around him, and a few boys immediately closed in on me. Ethan, don't push your luck. Jason lowered his voice, his eyes dark and menacing. It's just a card. Do you really have to make such a scene? I let out a cold laugh, shielding my backpack in front of me. What? Can't get it by asking nicely, so you're just gonna take it. Take it. We're just trying to wake you up. Leo suddenly shoved me from behind. I stumbled a few steps, crashed into a desk, and my backpack hit the floor with a thud, spilling its contents everywhere once again. Mia stood to the side, a mocking smile on her lips. Serves you right. A few boys took the chance to kick my textbooks aside. One of them deliberately stomped on my game console, and the screen cracked with a sickening crunch. What are you doing? I shot to my feet, but someone shoved me back down by the shoulder. Come on, Ethan, don't be so stingy, Jason said with a fake smile, reaching for my pocket. We're all classmates here. What's the big deal about lending a card? I slapped his hand away. Get lost. That really set Jason off. His face darkened as he grabbed me by the collar. You'd rather do this the hard way, huh? The classmates around us didn't try to stop him. Instead, They started egging him on, hit him, think your money makes you special. Stop acting all high and mighty, it's just a stupid card. Seeing I wouldn't back down, Jason threw a punch straight at my face. I dodged by tilting my head, then grabbed his wrist and twisted it hard. Arg, he cried out in pain, staggering backward. Mia shrieked at the sight. Ethan, how dare you lay a hand on me? She lunged at me, trying to claw my face. I shoved her away, quickly pulled my phone from my pocket, and dialed 911. Officer. I'm on the third floor of the XX University classroom building. Someone is committing robbery, vandalism, and assault. Mia's face went pale, and she threw herself at me. Are you insane? She snatched my phone and, without even looking, hurled it straight out the window. Smash! The phone hit the concrete below, its screen shattering into pieces. The classroom fell silent for a split second, but to their surprise, police sirens were wailing downstairs in less than 10 minutes. When the police entered the classroom, Jason and Mia turned deathly pale. Who called the police? The lead officer asked, scanning the room. I did, I said, raising my hand. They stole my things and smashed my phone. The officer glanced at the items scattered on the floor, then at my cracked game console and the shattered phone outside the window, his brow furrowing. What happened here? Jason immediately put on an innocent face. Officer, it's a misunderstanding, we were just fooling around. Mia quickly chimed in, yeah, just a joke between classmates. The other students all chimed in to corroborate the story. I swept a cold gaze over the group. These people were exactly the same as when they gave false testimony in my past life. The police officer sneered, smashing a phone, assaulting someone. You call that a joke? Counselor Davis rushed over upon hearing the news, his face livid. What is going on, causing such a scene on school grounds? The officer briefly explained the situation. After hearing it, Davis shot Jason a fierce glare. You again. Jason tried to argue, but the evidence was irrefutable. In the end, with the police mediating, Jason and Mia had no choice but to compensate me for my phone and game console and apologize publicly. As we left the office, Mia lowered her voice and hissed through gritted teeth, "You'll pay for this, Ethan." Seeing her contorted expression, I couldn't help but smile. All right, I'll be waiting. When I went back to the dorm to pack my things, I had a feeling someone had been through my stuff, but since nothing was missing, I didn't think much of it. Just as I stepped out of the school, a black Maybach pulled up right in front of me. Young Master Ethan, the master has urgent business and requests your presence at home. Without giving me a chance to speak, Butler Wong pulled me straight into the car. That evening, my father slid 2 documents across the table to me. His gaze from behind the gold-rimmed glasses as sharp as a knife. Ethan, this is your final choice. The inheritance of the 30 billion family trust fund, or a monthly allowance of $1,500. The 30 billion has already been deposited into your account at Zurich Bank. Once you sign, the funds will be at your disposal, and you can take over the family business. The crystal chandelier in the conference room cast a harsh glare from behind my father, squinting. I was transported back to that moment. The car speeding toward me, the sickening crunch of bones shattering, Jason's triumphant, sneering grin from my past life, just before I died, still echoed in my ears. I choose the monthly living allowance of 1,500 yuan, for, I pulled the document on the right towards me and signed my name. The pen in my father's hand clattered onto the solid wood desk. He shot up from his chair. Have you lost your mind? I looked at my father and replied with a smile. I'm still too young and inexperienced. I'm afraid I'm not ready to manage a fund as massive as 30 billion. Besides, you're still in your prime, father. I can afford to gain a few more years of experience. My father stared at me, remaining silent for a long time. So you've chosen the 1,500. That means you won't get a single cent more than that each month. Are you absolutely sure about this? I nodded, confirming my decision once more. Seeing my confirmation, my father could only speak in a cold tone. Wong, freeze Ethan's account at Zurich Bank. The next day, I threw the 2 fake cards Jason had swapped into the trash and followed right behind Jason and the others to Macau. My father is a regular here. He's brought me along plenty of times, so even the doorman knows me. The lobby manager hurried over to me. Young Master Ethan, what brings you here alone this time? I heard some of my classmates came here to hang out. I'm just stopping by to check on them. The manager nodded repeatedly. Ah, so that group of young people this morning were your classmates, young master. If we had known, we would have given them the VIP treatment. I waved my hand dismissively. It's fine, take me to have a look. The manager smiled as he pressed 10 chips into my hand. Young Master Ethan, please enjoy yourself for now. Consider these chips a gift from me. I tossed the chips in my hand lightly. Each one was worth 100 grand. I accepted with a smile. The casino floor was ablaze with lights and buzzing with noise. The moment I stepped in, someone at Jason's table noticed me. A harsh, grating laugh followed. Well, if it isn't young Master Ethan, Jason drawled, swirling his champagne glass. The diamond-studded cufflinks glinting coldly under the lights. What's this? Finally come around to join our little party. Mia nestled against him, her newly done, diamond-dusted nails lightly tapping the pile of chips. Would have been so much easier if you'd just lent us the VIP card earlier. And now here you are, trailing after us like a lost puppy. She deliberately drew out her words. Don't tell me you're having second thoughts. They're just jealous of our high stakes. Class leader Leo roared with laughter, slapping the poker table. Now you realize you should have backed the right horse. Too late. I deliberately unbuttoned my suit jacket and took a seat at the adjacent table. Just as the dealer was about to deal the cards, Jason kicked his chair back and strode over, the stench of cheap cologne mixed with smoke and alcohol hitting me in the face. Who do you think you are, acting all high and mighty? He slammed a stack of chips onto my table. The round tokens clattering to a stop by my hand. Call me, Brother Jason, and maybe I'll let you play with a few of my chips. The casino manager hurried over. I raised a hand to stop him, gently pushing the chip away with my fingertip. Jason, do you know why casinos have carpeting? 5. He was taken aback. What? For traction. So when someone loses everything and their legs give out, their knees won't hurt so much when they hit the floor. The entire VIP lounge fell silent. Jason's face instantly turned ashen. Behind him, his classmates were still holding up their celebratory champagne flutes, the bubbles trickling comically down the sides of the glasses. The crystal chandeliers lit the casino floor as bright as day. The chips between my fingers refracted a cold, hard light. Suddenly, a chorus of groans rose from the neighboring table. The towering stacks of chips in front of the 40 classmates were visibly crumbling away. Lost again. The class sports committee member slammed his fist on the table, the back of his Armani shirt already soaked with sweat. Mia glanced at the mere 10 chips by my hand, then laughed as she linked arms with Jason. How about this, Jason? You play a few rounds with Ethan, lose a few chips to him so he can stay in the game a little longer. Without waiting for my agreement, Jason plopped himself down in the seat opposite me. What do you want to play? I asked. Blackjack, keep it simple. Jason shrugged. It was his best game. Fine, but playing one hand at a time is too slow. Let's go all in. I pushed my last 10 chips into the pot. Alright, I'm in. Jason reached out and pushed his own chips forward. Just before things got underway, I caught a glimpse of Jason slipping a card into the dealer's hand. I smiled but said nothing. The dealer began dealing, 2 cards to each player. Jason's first face-up card was revealed. The ace of spades, a faint, almost imperceptible smile crossed Jason's face. Clearly, this card was exactly what he had expected. He turned over his second card, the king of spades. A triumphant smile spread across his face. He had a natural, because an ace of spades can be counted as either 1 point or 11 points, at the player's discretion. Looking at the 2 face-down cards in front of me, I spoke calmly. Hit me. The dealer dealt me the third card. I still didn't look, and continued, hit me. The people around me were getting restless. Is this kid crazy, taking 2 hits in a row? He's not afraid of busting. Jason scoffed at me. Ethan, this isn't a game of do di jeu. What's the point of hoarding all those cards? The manager stood by, also breaking into a cold sweat on my behalf. 6, hit me. Holy crap. Is this guy insane? He took 3 hits in a row. Jason shook his head with a wry smile. Someone should get him a rulebook for blackjack. I ignored them and looked at Jason. Show your cards, open your eyes wide and watch closely, because this hand is mine. Jason flipped over his cards, a king of spades, and an ace of spades, a perfect 21. Jason's got this one in the bag, and it's the mighty blackjack. Ha ha ha. Ethan, you're about to lose your shirt. Don't you dare tell anyone you're from our class. You're an embarrassment. I revealed my hand, 3 2s, and 2 3s. It added up to a pitiful 12 points. But everyone was stunned. Because these 5 cards in my hand, though the lowest individually, together formed a 5-star, which just happened to beat the Black Prince in Jason's hand. Mia grabbed Jason's arm and shrieked, "You said it was a sure thing." Her diamond-studded nails dug deep into Jason's arm, leaving several bloody scratches. "Cheating. He must be cheating. How is this possible?" Furious, Jason shoved Mia away and slammed his hands on the gambling table with a roar. I shrugged. "Looks like Lady Luck is on my side today, Mr. Jason." The manager's crocodile leather shoe crushed a fallen chip as he offered a disingenuous smile. "Your outstanding debt has reached 980 million. Due to the excessive amount, you must settle your gambling debts before you can continue playing." The entire gaming table fell deathly silent in an instant. Mia's champagne glass shattered with a crack on the marble floor. "What are you implying? Afraid I can't pay?" Jason kicked over the chair, flinging a gold-embossed VIP card from his Hermes wallet. "Look clearly, I'm a VIP here with a 5 billion credit line." The manager picked up the card with tweezers for a closer look, then suddenly turned and bowed to me. "Mr. Ethan, this is the VIP card your father opened here 3 years ago." He deliberately raised his voice. "According to the rules, immediate family members may use it. Non-cardholders must post a 500 million deposit." The student's expressions froze as if someone had hit pause. Leo, the class monitor, still had champagne foam from the earlier celebration clinging to the corner of his mouth. The manager's expression turned serious. "When you first used this card, I assumed you were Mr. Ethan's classmates or friends. However, we have just confirmed that Mr. Ethan has no such group of friends." Upon hearing the manager's words, the whole group started shouting at me. "Ethan, I can't believe you're that kind of person. Just because Jason didn't invite you, you're going to pretend you don't even know your own classmates. What an arrogant jerk." I let out a cold laugh. "I don't have any classmates who would steal my VIP pass without asking. Pfft, it's just a VIP card. We don't want it anyway." Mia snatched the gilded card and flung it back at me. "Jason, settle the bill. Once that's done, we can take our time and have some real fun." The manager picked up a POS terminal and held it out to Jason, tapping the ledger. "Mr. Jason, your current debt stands at 1,480 million, according to house rules." "Shut your mouth." Jason burst into a fit of wild laughter. He pulled a titanium card that gleamed coldly from his inner pocket and slammed it onto the gaming table. The card, emblazoned with the Zurich Bank logo, cast an eerie blue halo under the lights. "Take a good look," he said, his trembling finger tracing the raised, gilded lettering on the card's surface. The entire VIP lounge fell silent, all eyes fixed on the man who had just thrown down a fortune. The card swiped through the card reader with a soft whir. Beep. The manager frowned. The payment was declined. Jason snatched the POS machine and slammed it onto the floor, sending plastic shards flying everywhere. "This machine must be broken. Get me another one." The manager watched the frantic Jason calmly and, with a wave of his hand, the attendant beside him produced a brand new POS machine. Beep. The payment was declined again. Now it was Jason's turn to lose his composure. 7. Jason's face turned ashen as he pulled out his phone and, with trembling hands, dialed the bank. The customer service agent on the other end of the line was polite, but Jason's expression grew darker by the second. After hanging up, he snapped his head up to glare at me, his eyes filled with rage and disbelief. "Ethan, why won't you inherit the family fortune?" he practically roared, his voice echoing through the casino hall. I shrugged, putting on an innocent face. "I just don't think I'm capable enough to handle 30 billion yet. Besides, if I don't inherit, it's my cards that get frozen. What's it to you?" I paused deliberately, feigning a look of confusion. "Don't tell me, you didn't inherit the family fortune either." "So your card got frozen." Jason's face flushed bright red in an instant, his fists clenched so tight they audibly creaked. The classmates around us, hearing my words, all wore suspicious expressions, their gazes shifting back and forth between Jason and me. Seeing this, Mia quickly stepped forward, forcing a strained smile. "Ethan, don't be like this. If you don't inherit the estate, what will you live on? How about you go back and apologize to your father, and just accept the inheritance?" I let out a soft chuckle and shook my head. "No need, my expenses aren't high." $1,500 a month is more than enough for me, Jason finally snapped, pointing a finger at me. He exploded. Ethan, you son of a bitch, you did this on purpose. You knew the card would be frozen and you set us up. Hearing this, the surrounding classmates caught on and began to berate Jason from all sides. Jason, didn't you say you had money? Hurry up and pay the bill, right? Aren't you a trust fund baby? Can't even come up with this small amount. We all came here because you talked us into it. What are we supposed to do now? Jason was backed into a corner, a vein throbbing on his forehead. He suddenly pulled another card from his pocket, slammed it on the gambling table, and said through gritted teeth, "There's 10 million in this account. I'm only covering my own share. I'm not responsible for anyone else's debt." Mia's eyes widened in disbelief as she stared at Jason. Jason, how could you? We all came here together. Jason shot her a cold glance. Not my problem. Figure it out yourselves. The classmates erupted into an uproar. Some started cursing Jason for being heartless, while others turned to me with pleading looks. Ethan, we're all classmates. Please, you have to help us. Exactly. You've won so many chips. Cover this debt for us, and we can all still be friends. I shook my head, my tone calm yet firm. Sorry, but we stopped being friends a long time ago. Seeing the commotion, the manager stepped forward and said with an impassive face, "If you cannot settle your debts, then we have no choice but to pursue legal action, or," he paused, his gaze sweeping over everyone's hands, "leave a hand behind." His words hit the crowd like a bucket of ice water, instantly freezing the atmosphere in the casino. The students' faces turned deathly pale in an instant. Some were so terrified their legs gave way, collapsing to the floor. "Ethan, please. We're truly sorry." Class monitor Leo was the first to drop to his knees, his voice choked with tears. "It was all Jason's fault. He forced us into it. He said you had money and told us to set you up." Mia panicked, scrambling to shift the blame. Jason trembled with rage at the sight. "You ungrateful wretches, who was it that came crawling to me, begging to come to Macau?" I watched their disgraceful display with complete indifference. The betrayals and schemes of a past life had finally come back to bite them. The manager gave a wave, and several security guards immediately closed in. "Since you can't pay, we'll have to follow procedure." 8. Jason struggled and yelled, "Don't touch me, I've already paid." The manager sneered, pulling a card from his pocket, the very same bribe card Jason had just slipped to the dealer. He said slowly and deliberately, "Mr. Jason, you've only settled your own gambling debt for using Mr. Ethan's VIP card. You still need to post a 500 million deposit, and," the manager's eyes turned cold, "you were cheating in the last game. You'll need to leave a hand behind." Jason's face instantly went deathly pale, a cold sweat breaking out. His voice trembled as he cried out, I need to make a phone call." An hour later, Jason's father, George, arrived at the casino, looking travel-worn and weary, dressed in a sharp suit but with fury etched on his face. He stormed in and immediately slapped Jason hard across the face, roaring, "You worthless fool, do you have any idea what a mess you've made?" George suppressed his rage and forced a placating smile at the manager. "The boy doesn't know any better. Is there any way we could work something out?" The manager handed over the bill with a blank expression. "Mr. George, your son's outstanding debt, plus the security deposit, comes to $1,480,000,000. Oh, and he just paid $10 million. If you can settle this bill, we can pretend today never happened." George's vision went dark, and he nearly fainted on the spot. His hands trembled as he flipped through the bill, his voice shaking. This is too much. I can't possibly come up with this kind of money on such short notice." Manager Mia smiled. "That's all right. We can accept asset collateral." In the end, after a long internal struggle, George gritted his teeth and put up his company as collateral, the very business that was his life's work. Yet even so, they were still short on funds. George then contacted the other students' parents. To save their children's hands, they sold houses, sold cars, and borrowed money wherever they could, finally managing to plug the financial gap. When they got back, the classmates, now left with nothing, were utterly devastated. They had lost everything, their homes, their cars, their savings, and even their parents' trust, and all of it was because of Jason's arrogance and greed. The furious classmates gathered, and one of them said through gritted teeth, "Jason ruined us, left us penniless. How does he even have the nerve to go on living?" His father mortgaged the company, but what about us? We've lost everything, we can't just let this go. That night, a crowd stormed into Jason's family villa, trapping Jason and his father inside. George tried to explain himself, but the furious mob was beyond reason. Burn it down, someone roared. Flames shot into the sky, engulfing the entire villa. Trapped in the sea of fire, Jason and George screamed in agony, but no one came to their rescue. The firelight painted the night sky crimson, illuminating the twisted faces of their classmates. They stood at a distance, watching it all in silence. There was no pity in their eyes, only the grim satisfaction of vengeance. The next day, the news was everywhere. Tycoon father and son perish in blaze, suspected revenge killing. 9. As for Mia, after her family assets were liquidated to pay off debts, she completely lost the glamorous life she once had. The designer handbags, watches, jewelry, and accessories she was once so proud of were all repossessed by her creditors. With nowhere else to turn, she shamelessly came to me, crying her eyes out. Ethan, I know I was wrong, I was completely out of my mind back then. Can you ever forgive me? Sitting in the cafe, I watched the pitiful sight of her cheap makeup smeared by tears and gave a soft, knowing smile. Mia, you look far more genuine now than you did when you were kicking my ribs in. Her expression froze. I turned and walked away, hearing her scream hysterically behind me. Ethan, you'll get what's coming to you. 3 months later, I saw her on the local news. The TV showed footage of her being escorted by the police. Her meticulously styled hair was a mess, and the tiny diamonds on her manicured nails had long since fallen off. It was said she had been posing as a socialite, swindling money from rich second-generation heirs, until her scheme was finally exposed. I gazed at the sunlight streaming through the window. In this lifetime, everyone had received the ending they deserved. 3 years later, my father formally handed over the family business to me. At the handover ceremony, he patted my shoulder, his eyes brimming with unconcealed pride. Ethan, you've done exceptionally well these past 3 years. It seems your choice to go out and gain experience was the right one. I accepted the seal that symbolized the family's authority, and thunderous applause erupted from the audience below. After the ceremony, my new assistant handed me a document. Boss, here's the list of remaining assets from the recently acquired Jason family conglomerate. I flipped through a few pages absent-mindedly. How should we proceed? The assistant asked. I closed the file and gazed out the window at the forest of skyscrapers. The fire 3 years ago had burned away all the old grudges. Now, looking back from this lofty height, even hatred seemed insignificant. No need for any special treatment, I said, turning towards the conference room. Just follow the standard procedure. Outside the floor-to-ceiling window, the setting sun bathed the entire city in a golden light.